So they sent Obama to come get us and bring us back to the Democratic plantation. They sent Obama back to come get us. He insulted us. He said, I was highly offended when he said the only reason we voting for Donald Trump is because we don't want a woman in president, so we come up with, yo, nigga, shut up. Shut up. You don't speak for me. You don't speak for me. You don't speak for a lot of us. You gonna tell us what we think? Come on, man. Who the fuck?
The fallout from Obama saying what he said about black men in this election has caused Kamala Harris's campaign to just collapse, because new polling just came out and confirmed exactly why the Democratic Party is panicking, why Obama out of nowhere comes out and he's starting to panic. And so what we're going to do is talk about these polls, and we're going to react to both sides criticizing Obama over what he said. Let's start with this clip first.
Now, new polling from Pew finds that there is a larger gap between gender for each candidate in support. So 51% of male registered voters are supporting Trump and 43% supporting Harris. More specifically, 20% of black men support Trump compared to just 8% of black women. And as each candidate pulls out all the stops to get support,
what Obama should be talking about, and other men should be talking about, other black men, what Biden-Harris has done specific to African-American men when it comes to economics, when it comes to health, when it comes to the environment, when it comes to mental health, when it comes to fighting white supremacy, criminal justice reform. Talk about what you've done as opposed to chastising what someone should or should not be doing. Speak to their issues. That's how you reach them.
All right, so that was roly-poly Roland Martin, okay, who I do not support. I don't agree with. I think he's one of the biggest race hustlers in the world. However, I do agree with him on one point, and that is about the messaging from the Democratic Party. It's very simple. What's happened over time is that the Democratic Party has become very complacent, and they just assume that all black people will vote for them. Here's my major point here, okay? You don't need to create a message that is all about black people. The message and why Trump has been getting more support from black people overall is because the message should be about all Americans. It should be, this is my policies and this is how my policies are going to help you. I don't care if you're blue, yellow, red, white, or whatever, my policies are going to help you. But when you make it about a particular race or you make it about a particular gender, you run the risk of doing what? Alienating people, whether that is people you're trying to get the support from or people you weren't trying to get the support from. So it's a risk that clearly the campaign is taking. I just don't think it's going to work. And to make it worse, when it doesn't work for the Democratic Party, this is what they resort to. Listen to this clip.
Shaming voters is a terrible idea. It was bad when Hillary Clinton did it with deplorables. It was bad when Mitt Romney did it on the eve of the election. Even if there's a grain of truth to it and there's the occasional radio caller that's going to admit to that sentiment, let's actually look at the fact that Biden was struggling with black voters. And that was a topic of conversation over and over again. So it's not about sexism.
Let's hold on one second. Let me take a look at this. Let's take a look at the numbers, because I think just to see what we're talking about here. There's been a progressive decline in overall support among black men and, to a lesser degree, black women for the Democratic nominee. Biden was doing better among black men than Harris appears to be right now, based on some of the better polling.
And that is why they like to use race or racism and sexism and all these different labels, right, that imply that the person they're talking about is a victim in order to get votes. The problem is they've already played this card so many times, the value of that message is no longer there. The value of saying Trump is a threat to democracy is no longer there. The value of saying that Trump is a racist is no longer there. They overplayed that. Now we're at a point where it's all about results. That's why the numbers have been changing in these polls. And that's why you're hearing more black men who are Republicans come out and say just that. Listen to this.
First of all, Obama's not as talented of a liar as he used to be, but quite frankly, my ancestors fought way too hard for me to have the ability to learn how to read, just for Obama to expect me to be so uneducated to think that I would vote for Kamala Harris simply because she claims to be a black woman. And I mean, if people want to stop having Kamala Harris be called a DEI hire, maybe he should stop trying to remind us of her demographic every 5 minutes. Black men not supporting Kamala has nothing to do with her being a woman. It has everything to do with her lack of accomplishments over the last 1,359 days.
That is just spot on, because if you just focus on what actually keeps people up at night, your message is going to resonate. But when you're talking about things that really is not keeping me up at night, especially if you're talking about black men, the message isn't going to land. In fact, the message becomes an insult. It becomes disrespectful. It becomes out of touch. And that's where they are. We saw the ad from her campaign that was out of touch when it came to men. We saw how out of touch former President Obama was when he said what he said about black men not supporting Kamala Harris. We've seen Magic Johnson get on the stage and try to tell black men that they need to support Kamala Harris and make history because she's going to be the first woman black president. Those messages, those talking points are out of touch. This country should not be operated based on the color of someone's skin. It should not be governed based on somebody's gender. It should be based on whether or not the person is going to get the job done at the end of the day. That's why it's just an insult when you talk to black people that way. Check this out.
I felt that it was incredibly disrespectful because he's making the assumption that we're not educated enough to lead our families, to look at the policies, to understand exactly what's going on with immigration, and we're supposed to overlook everything that they did over the last 3.5 years that was not in our favor. And when I say our, I'm talking about the American people, let alone men, let alone black men, and we're supposed to vote for her because of some misogynistic reason that's made up. And instead, we've learned how to educate ourselves, and now they've sent their Messiah back to rein us in and bring us back into the Democratic plantation. And most men that I've spoken with have said that it's absolutely disrespectful, and we're done with Obama.
Now, before I go any further, if you're getting value from this video, do me a favor, please. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. If you want to support us further, go to the link in the description below, grab yourself a t-shirt, or buy us a cup of coffee. Now, we know what the deal is. Me and you know what the truth is. It's not about the gender. It's not about the color of skin. It's about the record, the policies, the leadership, and overall, who is more likely to get us the results that we want. And that's why when the Democratic Party makes things about race and gender, it's a mistake. But you know what a bigger mistake is when they refuse to acknowledge what we're saying. And a great example of this is when Buck Sexton was on Bill Maher and he had to debate Laura Coates on this exact issue of why men are not supporting Kamala Harris, and just watch the nasty attitude from Laura Coates. Watch this.
Why is it that the Republican Party is the party of guys who are, that talk about masculinity in traditional terms, that speak about courage, that speak about getting after it, that speak about taking risks, and the Democrats are announce your pronouns, let's have boys pretend they're girls in the locker rooms, let's put tampons in the this is just reality. They call him, what's his name?
I mean,
Tim Walz.
those things happen. They don't happen everywhere.
Well, but they happen in enough places that the Democrat Party won't condemn it, and so you ask why? Why are they okay with all of this?
Why is courage only a masculine quality?
These are... And see, here we go. It's not that it can't be a feminine quality as well, but then you get into this, what is the definition of masculinity that can be positive that doesn't upset the feminists? There's nothing, you say, risk-taking, greater tolerance for, dealing with like long hours at work, whatever it may be. Oh, that's terrible because you're disenfranchising women who have the same. Well, okay, but so the only masculinity is toxic masculinity? This is why Tim Walz, and it's not working, and he's going around telling everybody, look at me.
They do more dangerous jobs.
Yeah, of course.
That's just a fact.
Yeah, I mean,
men do the more dangerous jobs.
We do the more dangerous jobs. We do most of the fighting in the wars.
Right. Your job is very dangerous at this table.
Yeah, so that level of snarkiness, right, that she had is what I see a lot from Democrats when Republicans, independents say, hey, Democrats, you guys really don't understand men today. You keep assuming that it's all about misogyny. You keep assuming that it's about toxic masculinity. Instead of just looking in the mirror and saying, wait a minute, maybe our message isn't sticking. maybe we actually don't understand men today, and take a closer look at what the truth really is and learn how to listen. Now, of course, that word listen is very difficult for the Democrats. I mean, when a Republican starts to speak, they cut you off 5 seconds in. And that's why we got to be more honest with ourselves and start exercising common sense and start learning how to disagree better and stop labeling everything that you disagree with as hate speech, misinformation, disinformation, racist. That's all the Democrats do. They never want to engage in a productive debate. If we can get back to that, then our country is headed in the right direction. And that's my opinion. What about you guys? What do you guys think about the fallout from this crazy mistake that former President Obama made when I guess he's trying to save Kamala Harris's campaign? I believe her campaign has just collapsed, because if she's doing this bad with black men, imagine how bad she's doing with Latino men. Imagine how bad she's just doing with men overall. And the only thing that she has going for her is the turnout as it pertains to women. Will they turn out in a number we've never seen before? I don't know. So I want to know what your opinion is. I want to know what your thoughts are about it. But I know one thing is for sure: this smugness, the nastiness, the attitude from the Democratic Party, it's not helping them. It's been hurting them. So let me know what your thoughts are. And if you want to check out an example of seeing somebody that is just like that, check out this New York Times interview with JD Vance that's coming up right now.